All right, I'm going to go my most improved team that stands out to me is the Tennessee Titans. Now, is this really short-sighted because they made a lot of let's get better in 2024 types of moves, including trading for L'Jarius Sneed?
They now have a wide receiver room. I think this is just their starters.
Shoot, Eric's texting us.
The top three. Is he
really?
He
is listening.
Yeah. Their top three wide receivers have an average age of 30 plus.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I think that's fine for this year. So I can't remember if this was on the Greg show when I was talking about this. I'm a big believer in those top three receivers. I think DeAndre Hopkins is still a wide receiver one, probably the lower end of wide receiver one type of history. Calvin Ridley is better as a two, and he gets to be a two here next to Nuke Hopkins. And they just signed Tyler Boyd, who I think, look, he's not coming off a great season, but is a pretty good wide receiver three right now. So I like that trio of receivers. J.C. Latham, early reports are that he will play at left tackle, so they're going to put him on the left side. I think, look, the tough part is projecting a rookie going out there and performing well right away.
Right.
But Latham and Peter Skoronski on the left side here. They're bringing Lloyd Cushenberry, who's coming off of his best season, to play center. They could be solid in 4 out of 5 spots there, which is better than they were, way better than they were last year. And then defensively, I think Tavondre Sweat can make an impact right away as a nose tackle right next to Jeffrey Simmons on that defensive line. And that secondary, as I mentioned, L'Jarius Sneed, but also Chidobe Awuzie coming in. Say what you want about the money for both of those corners and what they have invested going forward, but I think for this year, the Titans look a lot better. I don't know if it'll show on the record because it'll all depend on Will Levis, but I think they've put some pieces onto that roster that was rebuilding about a year ago at this time.
Yeah, I mean, Sneed, I think, is a fantastic move for them overall. Like, they traded for him for really not much at all, to the point where, we were wondering why. There was reports that his knee was an issue and that was what was kind of holding up trade talks. But if they've cleared him medically, I mean, the cost to get him was incredibly good from their perspective. The contract that they signed him to wasn't insane either. So you add Sneed, you add Awuzie, who's a perfectly capable starting corner, to Roger McCreary, who I think was the one player in that cornerback room already that was actually pretty good and can operate from the slot. It is a pretty overhauled cornerback room that should definitely be a massive upgrade. The interesting thing is they've kind of done what the Bears have done in terms of, all right, let's really build around Will Levis and give him the opportunity to succeed, except instead of, like the Bears kind of did it by hitting everywhere they could, right? We'll bring in one big move, the DJ Moore thing as part of the trade. We'll bring in a veteran for a 4th-round pick, but the giant contract that he's on, and then we'll grab a rookie, and we'll sort of hit every level of this. Whereas the Titans have gone, let's just grab all the 30-year-old players that are already good, right? We'll just pay them. Hopkins, Calvin Ridley, we'll pay him big money, and we'll bring in Tyler Boyd as the sort of post-draft free agent. Now we've got this entire really experienced wide receiver room who probably has 1 year left before they're all done, and that's it. That's all we got. Which is, I mean, it's an interesting approach. From this point, like 2024, Will Levis should be very well set up to succeed in terms of people he's throwing to. 2025, who knows?
And then for whatever it's worth, I don't remember how much you look into this stuff, but they're talking up Treylon Burks in camp too. They're talking up Treylon Burks.
But this is after just signing Tyler Boyd, which leaves Treylon Burks. I mean, this might be where he belongs.
You like him as a,
right.
Get the ball in his hands, the N'Keal Harry role.
No, the Treylon Burks Arkansas role. Like, he becomes the designated gimmick. Like that. If you watch his tape at Arkansas, he was not playing wide receiver. He was playing athlete. It was like when you watch, colleges do this as well, but high school in particular. If you watch these guys in high school, it's like, who is our best athlete and how do we get the ball in his hands, right?
Yeah.
Now, it's so extreme in high school. Generally, that guy plays quarterback, so he's got the ball in his hands every time. But if he doesn't, he plays the way Treylon Burks played, which is he's going to line up a quarterback in the backfield, in the slot, at tight end. We're going to move him everywhere, and every play is essentially designed to go through that guy and just get the ball into his hands, regardless of where he's lining up, but in a variety of different ways. He was really good at that. It just wasn't a wide receiver position. And the question for him coming into the NFL was, okay, that's great, but can you translate that to now you're going to play X receiver or Z wide receiver, or, you have to fit into some kind of conventional position and operate that way. And so far, he hasn't been able to do that. So if you just put him back in that role and say, you're going to have a designated gimmick, except instead of every play coming to you, it's like 1 in every 12, He should be still good at it. It's just a much smaller role than it was in college.
So that has me intrigued by the Titans. Anytime you move people down the depth chart at receiver and you tap into just what they do well, I think that's a good strategy. So I like the Titans.
All right.